Be worthy of your signature. I have a great story for you artists that I think will help sell the reason why if it's worth doing, if it's worth having your signature, you gotta give it your all. So way back in the day, you guys know Magic the Gathering, a company, Wizards of the Coast, that I've done work for. Haven't worked on Magic the Gathering, but at the time that this collectible card game came out, there were so many companies that were trying to get on that bandwagon, including Age of Empires, right? So here's one of the cards I did for that. I worked with another artist named Dave Akins who drew all the cards, and then I painted every single card in the set. Here's another one, Age of Empires. This one is Mongol Cavalry Upgrade, right? And again, oh my gosh, I must have done 100 of these. Super, super cool. But I will never forget, this was such a good lesson for me. There was another game called Legend of the Five Rings. Now, this game was really interesting. I remember when I got the call, it was two guys, and one of the guys had a girlfriend. It was three people, and it really sounded like, when I would talk to them on the phone, it sounded like they were just hanging out in a basement eating pizza. Didn't sound like it was going to be very profitable or like it was going to be a big game. Now, at the time, Magic the Gathering was the only game on the market, so everyone else is scrambling to try to put something together. This company was called Alderic Entertainment Group. So they called me and they loved my work. Hey, we love your Star Wars and your Battlestar Galactica. How would you be interested in doing a game like Magic the Gathering, but it takes place in feudal Japan? I was like, oh my gosh, I love ninjas and samurai and all things like Asia. I was so in. And they said, how many cards do you want to do? Man, if you're interested, we'll have you do the whole set. I was like, are you kidding? I said, well, what's the payment? Well, that's where it was kind of a red flag. Unfortunately, the cards only paid $50 a card. So that's $50 a painting. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't do 100 cards for $50 each. I can't do it. And they said, well, here's the thing. We will work out a deal with you where it's only $50 up front, but you will get a huge percentage in the back end. I've heard that story before, like, oh, the royalties, so I'll make a lot of money when this game goes huge. Yeah, I've heard that before. No, not interested. I don't know. So tell you what, because it's feudal Japan and I want to do it. And, you know, these kids sounded cool, so I was like, you know what, I'll do 5 cards. But when I got the cards, there was one that was like a ninja, which was cool, and one was a samurai, but then another one was like blacksmith. Another was like gold. It was literally rock with like a little bit of gold like gleaming through. Did not sound very, and the other one was like horse or something like that. Wow, horse. Did not sound very interesting, so I'll tell you what. This was early in my career, and here I am. I have all these other jobs where I'm illustrating Star Wars and stuff. Just wasn't very excited about this. So what I did the crappiest cards you could possibly imagine. They were horrible. But I was like, forget it. Oh, I'm only getting $50 a card. Pfft, they can kiss it, right? So I sent them in, and they called me, and they said, Matt Busch, what is up? This does not look like Matt Busch artwork. Like, wow, we're really kind of taken aback here. And I was like, are you kidding me? They actually sent the cards back. They wanted me to work on them more and add more detail. I was like, I can't believe this. So I scribbled on a little bit more, but I was like, I sent it back, sent them back. Didn't really do a good job. I will never forget, about 6 months later, I was walking into a Barnes & Noble, and I was actually buying a book. When I got to the cash register, they had 2 collectible card games right next to the register. One was Magic the Gathering, and the other was Legend of the Five Rings. I was like, no way, oh my gosh. So I bought a couple packs because I wanted to see, right? Right away, I started flipping through some of the artists like Dave Dorman, and a lot of the artists were the artists that were on Magic the Gathering. I'm like, this looks so good. And then I saw my cards. They looked awful. Oh my gosh. I felt so bad. And even worse, the fine print on each card Art by Matt Busch. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad. So here's the crazy thing. I was like, I don't know, whatever. A few months later, I got my first royalty check. This royalty check was so big, I could buy a car with it, right? It was for 5 cards. It was unbelievable. Thousands of dollars. Wow. Oh my gosh. Then another 3 months later, because I got paid, those royalties come in 4 times a year. 3 months later, got another one. Not as much, but just a little bit, like 1,000 less from what the first one was. Crazy money, right? So I heard through the grapevine, and then to be honest, like this kept happening for a couple years, but years later, I think the last check I got was like 43 cents. So they dwindle over time, right? I'll never forget, I heard through the grapevine that Alderic Entertainment Group was doing series 2 of Legend of the Five Rings. So I contacted them and I said, hey, I heard you guys are doing more cards. What's up, right? And they said, yeah, we are. And I said, how many do you want me to do? I said, hey, I'll do the whole set if you want. They said, actually, Matt Busch, we're not interested in having you do any cards. We really weren't happy with the cards you did. I said, I'll do better this time. Trust me, I will do so good. I will make them amazing. And they're like, sorry, Matt Busch, no thank you. So it hurt, but that was a really good lesson for me. And the lesson is you need to be worthy of your signature. If you are working on anything, if it has your name on it, it better be your best. There are jobs we work on all the time where we're not excited about them, or it's not that fun, or, oh, why did I agree to this? You know what? Find the beauty, make it amazing, make it look great. If it's got your name on it, that name has to be this certain level of quality. I'm glad I learned this early in my career and not later in my career. So I'm going to share, I'm not going to show the other 3 cards, but this one is Ninja Thief. Not my best work. And this is when I went back and touched it up a little bit.
Not your worst.
Not my worst work. This is probably worse, but this is Counterattack. So this is probably one of the funner cards where there's actually a samurai. But the other ones were so bad. I have them, but I don't know. I might have thrown them away because when I wanted to talk about these were the only 2 I could find. I may have actually thrown them away. Anyway, there you go. You need to be worthy of your signature. All right, see you guys. Bye.